Thank you very much.
We'll take questions from each, go ahead from the chair.
Yeah, is there any indications that friends or family on the outside were aware in advance or communicating about these plans?
Well, and we're not gonna get into the details of the investigation, Major Phipps, but we're looking at all angles.
What does it say, and I mean this respectfully, but you said, and I'm gonna quote you here, that you observed those guys running out at 1 o'clock in the morning. What does it say for jailhouse safety and security when you see a jailbreak like that, but you fail to notify anyone, NOPD, the public, anyone?
We didn't say that.
What did you say then?
We observed on the video later this morning. We had to pull that.
He said you observed at 1 a.m.
So let's be clear. I said what we observed on the video through investigation. So yes, when they looked at the video this morning after the staff realized they were gone, my investigators found that at 1 a.m. that's what happened.
So no one was watching live video all night at the jail.
I won't say no one was watching live video.
And how did nobody see them
There are
leaving the
over
jail?
900 cameras.
How did nobody see them leaving the
There
jail?
are over 900 cameras.
I know, it's just, how did no one see a massive jailbreak?
We're continuing, the why and how is part of the investigation. So we have interviewed, I think, all of our employees, and we are interviewing all of the residents of that particular pod as well.
When you was on
And
the
then there's a lot of people that you've got to wade through their interviews to find out, to get down to the details of what happened. There was somebody on duty.
using all my love.
Sheriff's office said phone calls haven't been monitored over the past week, and escaped inmates were planning how they were going to get out through phone calls. Were y'all monitoring phone calls?
We monitor phone calls all the time. There are 1,400 people in this jail, over the city council 1250 limit. So can you monitor every single person every day? No, we don't have the bodies to do that. But we do monitor, and we rely on tips, and we have an intelligence unit that monitors what's going on in the jail. There's a lot of things at any given time going on.
But it's your job to monitor every single person in this facility, every day.
Visually, with our deputies on the pods. Yes,
You said-
I did have a question. The former sheriff, Marlon Gusman, he disputes the claims that there were a lot of issues here at the facility after he left. Do you stand by your statement about the issues with it? And also we learned that you have a $14 million fund balance. Why wasn't that money used to repair the locks? If you could talk about that.
I can speak more intelligent, I believe, to the physical plan in the jail. Not necessarily design, but at some point this jail was planned, and it was obviously planned to be a minimum custody facility. I don't know what the dynamics of the population was in New Orleans as far as those incarcerated around that time, but that is not the dynamic now. Right now we have 24 pods, and 90% of those pods are populated with high security inmates. Those are people that are predatory, assaultive, violent, and aggressive. So we're in the process now of developing an ad-seg unit, because we identified a large number of individuals that needed to be on some type of restrictive housing environment that did not exist at this facility. So it's plenty of deficiencies when we start to talk about the physical plan. So it's not correct to say that those things didn't exist, because they're prevalent.
This
So you're saying you had a congested,
This jail in 2015 into 2022, they never had a jailbreak, so you say it's not built for that, or it's not right.
You gotta think about
They never had a jailbreak from 2015 to 2022, I
the
guess.
sheriff says it all the time. She talks about the 83% recidivism rate. So you got people in and out of here all the time. So they've been here and
But you just said it's a minimum.
No, I said it was built, had to be built for a minimum. So
They had maximum security inmates in here from 2015 to
you
2022.
start talking about locks. I don't know what max security inmate. Right now they have an objective classification system in place. I don't know if that was in place to identify properly if there were max security. It may have been everybody clumped together. We know now, based on our objective criteria, that we do have people that are classified at a higher security level than what this particular facility was built for.
yeah, Chief,
You had maintenance and service contracts at this time in place. Is there maintenance and service contracts in place? We're talking about the others within the pod
You're not convicted
Is there a maintenance and
murderer.
service contract in place? Travis gets asked multiple questions. Is there a maintenance and service contract in place with
There was
the
a convicted murderer in there, right, who had already been convicted, and he was in among these 10, right? Were they in separate cells, and he was in a minimum security area?
Everyone here is two to a cell, and that's what we have. We've been in constant communication with anybody that's been convicted with the Department of Corrections to come and pick up those individuals that have been convicted. We have 78 individuals right now. We've been in communication with the Department of Corrections, and they're assured us that they're going to come and get these.
So what about Derek Rose?
I'm not familiar with Derek Rose that he's been sentenced. I know he's been here for a long period of time. So if he's been recently sentenced, that's great. He would have been on our list. He may be aware that he would be on our list to go to the Department of Corrections. But they have the Department of Corrections and Public Safety and work with us to move several inmates that have been sentenced. They come twice a week. I just got off the phone when I stepped out here then with the Department of Corrections to identify how many individuals we have that have been sentenced that are taking up space, that are high security people, that have long sentences, and they're all about.
And what's being done to protect the witnesses in that case? Is there something being done to protect the witnesses who testified against him in that case?
That's what Captain went to address earlier, also some been in contact.
Talking about the pods and the deteriorating conditions, is there a maintenance and service contract in place to make repairs? And we're also hearing that critical cameras were down for weeks.
We have, this is our CFO, Bianca Brown, to talk more about that.
Hi, so I'm Bianca Brown. So based upon the
My
question
brother
that
in
you
there,
asked
now I
earlier
can
about
talk.
fund balance related to the 2020.
I mean, my brother down, hold up. Yes, 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 yes. We back in the building with another podcast vlog, and this is RD Podcast, and I'm your host, Hand 5000, and my famous words, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Whoo! Man, I know y'all miss me, man. I know y'all miss me, man. Love you too. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all miss me, man. I've been punch drunk. You know what I mean? But I got it together. I put it together, man. Hey, 60 more days, my producer will be next to me. You know, shout out to Spaz Money Media. Spaz, he'll be next to me. And we'll be able to create content. I swear. Y'all already told Spaz, bro. 90-day run, bro. We're going 16 for 16, 48 interviews. We going to get busy. But until then, yo, my producer, he be back. And Safi, what's good? What's good, man? I got y'all in here. You know, I got on the chopping blocks right now, the prisoners that broke away from New Orleans Parish. Hey, I've been locked up before. You know what I mean? Guys got out. It's not their fault that it was a breach in security. It's not their fault. And hey, who wants to be locked up? That's why resisting arrest doesn't carry a real penalty, because who wants to be locked up? Like, hey, if it's a hole in the toilet, I'm going out of it. It's like being punished and your parents go to the store. It's like you're not going to go down in the kitchen real quick. Doesn't make sense. If it's a way to get out of here, I'm getting out. Charge me if y'all catch me. But, man, I'm going to enjoy this freedom. You know what I mean? Hell yeah, dudes. They say one dude was convicted of murder. I know he went and got him a shot of pussy. Like, fuck that. You know, Scott, I didn't even mean to say that. Oh, man, 8 minutes in. But I know he went and got blessed. Man, got convicted of murder. But let's get into it before I got to be a lawyer. Then I'm going in. That's why I put in the topic, Diddy versus Cassie. I'm a defense attorney when I start talking about that. I'm a defense attorney. I'm ready to get down to the nitty gritty. Diddy going to hire me after this.
Critical cameras that are not working.
So right now, we can't afford a maintenance service contract. We have maintenance staff that are on board that do the day-to-day. But right now, our current budget sits at about 68 million. 41.1 million comes from the city, 13 million comes from the village, and about 10.1 million a quarter is given to us. Right now, our payroll is about 9.6. Our food expenses is 780,000 a quarter. That eats up the money. We don't have the funding available to have a full maintenance contract to do this. We've explained this on multiple occasions. Just on Monday, we went to the City Planning Commission and we reported this out. We asked for the money to secure this. So the funding is not available to do what needs to be done.
So if your conditions are not appropriate enough to handle violent offenders like the ones that escaped today, have you all considered potentially shipping them elsewhere?
We can't.
Also, just, your budget is bigger than Marlon Gusman's was. Do you all realize that?
it was bigger, but guess what? Things are being deprived. So what you're seeing is a result of what's happening now. Broken doors, you know, you got facilities, wear and tear. All of that is occurring now due to that budget. This size facility, they should have a $150 million budget easily. The budget that we have, it doesn't support what we need. I've laid out the numbers. You see, it's critical.
I want to, if I could, speak to, when you said, have we explored shipping, outporting individuals? Yes, we have. We've sent out numerous individuals, high security people, to various places. The Department of Corrections and Public Safety has helped us with that. We've sent people to Plaquemine. We've sent people to Catahoula. We've sent people to Madison. We've sent people to Angola. 30%, almost 40% of those individuals we send get remanded back for various reasons. So that takes up space. And the ones we sent to Catahoula, this is important, the ones we sent to Madison and the ones we sent to Plaquemine, all of these are parole violators. So these people are convicted felons that committed a crime here in New Orleans as either a pass-through, having fun, or whatever they were doing, and they ended up in the jail.
And look, circling back, what are you specifically doing to capture these violent offenders?
What do you mean?
What is the sheriff's office doing right now to capture these violent
The
offenders?
sheriff's office is working along with the 200 partner officers that I mentioned earlier and actually capturing these individuals. We're providing critical intel. So we are combing through those phone calls and other messages you mentioned earlier to identify who they communicated with, where they could potentially be. So along with our partners, we are visiting those locations in search of those individuals.
Are those video calls on those iPads recorded as well?
Let's go.
Video calls on iPads?
I can't answer whether those are recorded. I know the phone calls are recorded. I don't want to say yes or
Show. Again, good morning. Good morning, yo. Y'all here with me. Y'all here with the guy. Your favorite. Them boys escaped from New Orleans detention center, the parish. If you ask me, it's hilarious. Now, if I wasn't facing a lot of time, I wouldn't have dipped. If I knew I was going home or had some petty shit, I wouldn't have dipped. But bro, if I was facing that 14 years that they gave me, years ago, I was out of that door. I was gone. I'm a fugitive on the run. I'm on the run. Y'all gonna have to catch me as you can. And I just want to know how people feel about that. Man, them boys got out of jail, bro. Like, nobody wants to be in jail, bro. Now, if the security week, they roll out, I would have rolled out too. I'm smart. You know what I mean? I'm a smart criminal, Jack. You know what I mean? I got locked up a bunch of times. I ain't that smart, but I'm smarter than the average criminal. You feel me? I'm just like the rest of us. One thing about us, where I come from, grandma raised me, bro. I'm getting out of there. And I ain't going around the way either. You feel me? I ain't going around the way. I gotta teach him, listen, yo. I'm gonna get somebody, meet you some money, some clothes, and jumping on the Greyhound. That's it. I'm jumping on the Greyhound and headed for Miami. And once I get in Miami, I'm getting on one of the fisherman boats. It's hot. I'm getting the job on the fishing boat. They better self-deport and get $1,000. Yeah, bro. Right now, I'm gonna tell you what's the reason why I'm on this topic.
are gone. So she did not even.
Let me, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and this is really, really true, right? The New Orleans is like Baltimore. It's a predominantly, people of color town, and the most people that's incarcerated are people of color, and the most people that's gonna take those weird jobs to being a correctional officer, getting shit and pissed on you, disrespect, are black people. So you have black security guards, and it's no shade, no tea. I am a black man with different things in my blood, but I'm a black man. I have to tell you that I will rather, if I'm incarcerated, I'm not going back to jail. When I wasn't, I would rather be in those white people facilities because they ran correctly. I'm just sorry, bro. Like anywhere where black people got to be the case managers and the correctional officers and the wardens, that shit just don't get run right. People don't do their job. If you go up in Crackerville, they do their job. They don't like you. They're racist. They will hurt you, but they will do their job. You know what I'm saying? That cell was broken. They sending the maintenance men up there and fix it. You understand what I'm saying? If you're supposed to get something, they're gonna make sure you get it. They don't do nothing because they like you. They do their job. Our people get in these facilities and they want to be too cool, want to be too, and they're lazy. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do their job. So when you got people that don't want to do their job mixed with this. Now, one thing that the lady said was, I believe that a lot of these prisons are underfunded. You know what I mean? You people want people to go to jail. Hey, you do the crime, you do the time, you go to prison. But a lot of prisons in poor places like New Orleans, where they put the money elsewhere instead of putting the money to the school systems, prison reform, and numerous of things. You know what I'm saying? It's really, you think we ghetto here? Go to New Orleans, bro. Go to some of them towns in Florida. You know what I mean? You're gonna see poverty at its worst. You can't even believe it's going down like that. And also, New Orleans is a beautiful place, but it's governed by black people. And now, when it's governed by black people, they'll send money, and the lady just said, "Oh, we get a $68 million budget, but 40 from this, 40 for that." So we don't simply have the money. And I believe her. She simply don't have the money. Now you have a bunch of Caucasian journalists and a bunch of Caucasians that sit at the top want to point the finger. Hey, man, these correctional facilities been up for 100 years. They don't got no. They got a bunch of security breaches. They old ass buildings. And hey, dudes figured out it was a hole in that cell, and they got up out of there. Is it the correctional officer fault? Yes, indeed. But when me, I'm a type of dude to go from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom to the top. Don't work like that. We got to go from the top. The security, them people in there now, whoever was at the guard shack or whoever supposed to watch the cameras are getting fired. Because nothing like this should have went unseen without you hitting the button. Oh, it makes escape. But dudes asleep. Dudes asleep. For getting drafted, doing too much overtime. Things happen. True indeed, it happens. So with that being said, and with that happening, here we go. We have a prison break, and they want to point the finger at the people of color, and that's all up here explaining themselves. People of color. Let's get back into it. Please hit that notification button, that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, or put the cash up there, donate, whatever y'all trying to do.
I think everybody's live in here. Do you want to say you're sorry to the people of New Orleans for having this happen? I mean, we've heard from you several times today, but do you want to offer any kind of contrition or apology to people for something like this happening?
Well, first we have to find out exactly what happened and how they got out. We think this was intentional. There is much more than meets the eye in this investigation. And why did it happen just right now, right? In the middle of, as we're getting ready to start this sheriff's race. This is very suspicious. We know that they had help. We're showing you they had help. This was coordinated. There's much more than meets the eye. When I have enough information, I'll be glad to talk to the community about my issues or what I need, anything I may need to apologize. This is a public safety issue first and foremost. There's much more than meets the eye. We are digging, and we are not going to stop.
That's a long kind of stuff.
Orchestrating this from behind.
What is OPSO doing tonight to make sure that this facility is safe and that no one else can escape? Once again, Sheriff.
That man trying to hear that shit. They walked out on him, bro. They walked out on him, yo.
Breaking news.
Well, you just watched an explosive press conference with Sheriff Susan Hudson, members of the FBI, the NOPD, and of course, members of the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office giving us an update, which is kind of a shocking update. Mike, you've been inside of that jail. You know what's going on here. Tell us, based on what they said, what do you have to say to this?
I think my head is exploding. That was stunning. The video, the planning, what we saw was obviously not just a spur of the moment escape. They were cutting through rebar, getting rid of a toilet from behind a concrete wall. Mm-hmm. Clearly, they are looking at the advanced planning, whether there was inside and outside help. And the sheriff did say that they are, I guess, just starting the in-depth investigation. Yeah. But just the video of these inmates going through first, jostling the jail cell door, which we have heard is problematic, and then getting through those holes.
Them boys got about that joint. I would have got about that joint too.
That had been removed.
I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. If everybody's tapped in, just leave it in the comment. Are you mad because dudes broke out of jail? Be honest with me. Are you really mad, bro? Like, I mean, bro. All right. You mad if you never been in jail? Me, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all, bro. Dudes got to get about the joint, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dudes got to get about the joint, bro. Like, I'm not mad at that, bro. If y'all got a security beach, this ain't no pleasant place to be. Regardless if I'm supposed to be there or not. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all got to get that in your mind. Regardless if I'm supposed to be there or not. I do not give two freaking F's. Two freaking F's about staying there, bro. If you can get out. If I know that I ain't getting out no time soon, bro. And I got one dude was convicted of a murder that ran. That was a beautiful day. He was convicted of murder. He got out of there. I want to go back to that press conference, bro. Where's the damn press conference? That's all they talking about. It's top stories.
Midnight on Friday morning. 10
Friday
inmates
morning. Them niggas
escaped
got out on
from
Friday.
the
Whoa, I know they want to do their thing.
Authorities have since recaptured 3 of them. They have moved them to state prison at Angola, according to a Fox 8 source. Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson investigating her own staff members, suspicious that the inmates may have gotten help from the inside. Authorities warned that the inmates could be armed and dangerous. 27-year-old Derek Groves, if you remember, he was already convicted of killing people, 2 people on Mardi Gras Day back in 2018. Then there's 32-year-old Antoine Massey, held on domestic abuse and vehicle theft charges with a history of jail escapes. And records show he is wanted in St. Tammany Parish for kidnapping and rape. 19-year-old Corey Boyd, accused of murder, and 26-year-old Lenton Van Buren, accused of murder after allegedly shooting a man in New Orleans East 4 years ago. So once again, here's another person
that's
for
the
you,
problem.
Jermaine Donald, 42 years old, both on second-degree murder and a battery charge. And then 31-year-old Leo Tate, awaiting trial on burglary, drug, and weapons charges. 21-year-old Gary Price, arrested last month and held without bail for his alleged involvement in an attempted first-degree murder case. So day 3 of this manhunt, and still 7 on the loose. No major updates from authorities either since Friday night. And police.
To be honest, y'all heard them boys' charges. Y'all heard them boy charges. You going up? The one dude that got the petty. But one thing about it, New Orleans and certain places hold dudes beyond statues. I mean, they violate your Hicks. And if people don't understand what Hicks is, your Hicks rights is a right to a speedy trial. These dudes been locked up 4 years and 5 years still awaiting trial. You got one dude that been locked up since 2018. I'm guessing he just got convicted 7 years, and you're still in the detention center. Let me show you how it works in Baltimore. If you get locked up and you get convicted, for instance, just say you get life. If you get life and you go to court and you get life, they're not bringing you back to the unit that you was on. You get what I'm saying? They're not bringing you back to the unit. In the state of Maryland, they're going to put you on lockup and call DOC to come get you. And DOC will be there in the next 72 hours, depending on if you're in the county. If you're in the county jail, DOC with that elbow, DOC be there quick, probably the next day to get you. If you caught a gentleman's bet, a dying 5 years, they might take 2-3 days to come get you. You know what I mean? Then you go where you're going to go at. When you got a life sentence in Maryland, they don't even put you with everybody that just, once you get to the diagnosis center, DOC, where they process you medical and figure out what prison you going to, they don't even put dudes with life and 80, 90 years on the same block as dudes that got under 20. They just don't do it. They just don't do it, bro. They don't rock like that. Now, if I got a murder charge, you got a robbery charge, he has a bait charge, he has a assault on a female charge, he had that. We can all be housed in the same unit. You know what I mean? We can be housed on the same unit. You know what I mean? You ain't supposed to, but the jails, like that lady said, are always overcrowded. So they don't do things organized. Hey, we're gonna put the murderers with the murderers, the drug dealers with the drug dealers, the vapors with the vapors, and you know what I mean? So on and so on, how it should be. No. Everybody going on one tier. For murders, for babes, for robberies, kidnapping, everybody going on a section. That's where you're going at unless you request PC. You know what I'm saying? You protective custody, then you ain't going on no section. Other than that, you going on a section, bro. And it don't matter, bro. It don't matter, bro, what your charge is. You on the same tier with everybody else, which is crazy to me, but that's how it is. That's how it is, straight up and down. So that's what it is. And them dudes broke out of prison. I tell them dudes with the top murder charges, and one dude been convicted. You should know he going through a hole in the wall, wouldn't you? Like, some things I just don't get the faking on, man. Like dudes getting out of jail, breaking out of jail and stuff like that. Man, I don't know how mad that you really is. You're mad at the security staff, but I'm not mad at dudes breaking out of jail, bro. Boy, you just got convicted of murder. Freedom is nowhere you're going to know. You know what I mean? Freedom is a place where you ain't gonna never know about. So I would go ahead, bro. I would go ahead and if I was convicted of murder, bro, I don't know, bro. I ain't going back in there. I ain't going back in there, bro. I'm just being real with you. I ain't going back in there. I ain't going back in there. I ain't going. I ain't going back in there, bro. I ain't going back. I ain't going back. Man to man, I ain't going back. I ain't going back at all. I ain't going back at all. I'm on YouTube, bro. I ain't going back in at all. You get what I'm saying? I ain't going back in. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm convicted of murder. Y'all got to catch me. And I promise you, when you catch me, it ain't gonna be no cakewalk. You feel what I'm saying? I'm going out with a bang. My life is over.
Direct you to Crime Stoppers, which is 504-822-1111. But folks, take it seriously and do let us know. Now, I have one last appeal that I'm going to make. If there is anyone who is harboring or
keeping it a
these
G in here. What up?
You will be charged.
Hey, G.
So
G. I gotta hit this with you, G. Keep it real, yo. Keep it real. It was a hole in the wall in jail, and you could get out of it, bro. I know they talk that you gonna get 10 years for escape, 5 years. Okay, cool. I got life. Yo got convicted of murder. I'm going out that toilet. I'm just telling. I ain't telling nobody. I'm going out that toilet, bro. If I feel like, bro, ain't no way out of my situation, I'm going out that toilet, bro. I'm going out that toilet, straight up and down. I'm on YouTube, Spark. I hit you back. I'm going out that toilet. If I'm in prison, I'm going out. I'm going out. It's no joking in it, and there's no laughing, joking. I'm going out, bro. I'm going out the mother first window I can get. Man, it was times I was wishing I could. Man, I done seen toilets messed up, and they in DOC because I was in DOC so long. They had a cell like that. I couldn't see the streets, but you could see like the tunnel and shit where all the pipes at. But they in the pen. Anybody been over MTC? My cell, you know what I mean? I get the ride out with me. My cell in the pen, right? My man Juan had a bike, right? And we used to share his bike, right? If the police was running up in his cell, he could put his hand in the toilet and hand me his knife and his phone. And I could take the knife and the phone, boom, and yo, grab this real quick. That's how we used to work it. Or we used to hang a screen. I mean, tie the string up to the pipe. They come in there, hurry up, put the shit in there, boom, drop it down, and it's just dangling. If they come in there and look, it put a dirty screen so they couldn't really see the screen because you know them old pipes be having that white stuff around. So I'm telling you, I slept on yard side in the pen, 5th tier yard side. He slept 5th tier street side. And outside, I think I was in 540. He was in 540, but on the other side, 540A, I was in 540B. And literally, we couldn't pass, like we could pass food through there, cell phone through there, anything that we wanted to pass through there. Probably not a bull, but a rat. You could wrap the nigga shit up and then slide it through there. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I think one time I dropped the phone down the hole one time too. But that penitentiary was so messed up and so old the way as though when I dropped the phone down, dude just went, yo, it's a phone straight down there. So from the 5th tier cell, 540, 440, 340, 240, and 140, if the phone falls straight down, we just tell somebody in each one of them cells, blah, 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 blah. Yo, check to see the phone right there. Check to see the phone right there. Oh, you grab the phone and bring it right back to you. That's how it was in the pen because the penitentiary was built in like the 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I'm going to Google it right now to see when that penitentiary was built. You know what I mean? When was the penitentiary built on Fall Street, Maryland? Yeah. Yeah. Man, it's 1811. The pen downtown Baltimore next to the Bookers was built in 1811. That's why they shut it down. It was built in 1811, bro. What the fuck? That's type of bro. You can still see the train tracks in the pen. Anybody been to MTC, Metro, and in the old building, the penitentiary? You can see the train tracks. Still got train tracks in there, motherfucker. Man, if it was born in 1811, it might have been a goddamn slave plantation at first. It's vicious. There's no elevators in that place or nothing. So I'm thinking that's the way New Orleans Parish is, because the old ass joints. But then again, it look new because the pen got cells like with bars on it. Like that joint looked like it had doors. So the more newer prisons that was born in the 1900s got doors. Now they changing the doors. That penitentiary, old ass prisons got bars. Like real shit, bars, bro. And they was supposed to be one-man cells in the pen, but them motherfuckers made them two-man cells, bro. And that shit was literally you can put both of your arms on the wall. I'm talking real jail shit, where as though you can put both of your arms on the wall like that, bro. You stretch your arms out, hell yeah. And it was hella breaches. That's why they shut it down. Dudes down there go outside and pick up a package and come back in the building. Dudes wasn't on no escapement shit, but as far as catching, yeah, they did that. So I can just imagine New Orleans prisons ain't getting no funding, bro. And do I think them dudes gonna go out here and try to hurt somebody else? I don't know, bro. But them dudes rolled out. I would have rolled out too. I'm not mad at that. If you mad at that, something wrong with you. Let's go. Let's finish hearing what they got to say, because I'm gonna get into that Diddy and Cassie stuff, and I'm Diddy defense attorney. I'm gonna tell y'all the pros and cons in that.
The district attorney, who in the past has spoken about harboring a fugitive, will take it very, very seriously as well.
Don't nobody care. I didn't know he was a fugitive.
Unless you cooperate with us. If you work with us, we will work with you. Now, when we were notified about an hour ago, we immediately not only let our district officers know, but we offered fully to the sheriff, and we did it on our own. But we do have our violent offender squad. We have a team of officers who do nothing but that. They are actively out there right now. We have our special teams, VCATE, the FBI we know, the U.S. Marshals are out there, and thanks to the governor as well as Colonel Hodges, we have all of the NOLA troops involved. And that's basic information that we have right now. We, on our part, PD, will keep you informed. These escapees are in our city, although they had been under the care of the sheriff's department, but we will be working in partnership on this.
Superintendent, we know that these inmates went missing around sometime after midnight. The sheriff's office didn't find out until 8:30 this morning.
Yeah.
The public was not notified until sometime after 10 o'clock this morning. How crucial is time to, number one, recapture these individuals, but also to alert other agencies as well as the public?
I don't want to keep talking. We gotta get into the Diddy thing. We get back to New Orleans, because I broke it down so smooth. Now, let me break it down to Diddy. Let me get into this Diddy thing. All right, Diddy's locked up, right? And then right now, I'm ready to hand 5,000 to lawyer. I gotta get my lawyer bag on right now. So I'm gonna scrap this little mic to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be the lawyer right now. Okay. Diddy case. I am his lawyer. Okay. Cassie even she's off the stand now. Before she got off the stand, I will look at the jury and I will tell the jury in my closing arguments, Sean Puffy Combs is a sick individual, right? Let me cook. He's a sick individual. He suffered from what probably a lot of us suffer from if we got caught on tape, in a dispute with our significant other. Now, don't act like you ain't see your grandfather and grandmother get into it, your auntie and uncle get into it, your sister get into it, even you done got into it. If it was on tape, a lot of us would be standing on the stand right now, hurt with some of the things you said to a woman and some of the things you did to a woman. Some of us would get crucified. We understand that. Sean Puffy Combs is guilty of domestic violence. Sean Puffy Combs is guilty for kicking that woman. Sean Puffy Combs is guilty for being a violent man towards women. Sean Puffy Combs, please do not convict this man of sex trafficking, bape, and all this type of stuff that you got going on. This was a relationship that was fueled off of sex, drugs, money, popularity. Okay? What happened to Cassie? I ain't saying as far as the beating part, it shouldn't have happened. Diddy got to stand up and man up for that. But as far as the sex, the drugs, the prostitution, baby girl was with that. In one instance on the stand, she said in 2018, her and Diddy, she had the boyfriend that she has now, her and Diddy met for a closure dinner. After the closure dinner, she went back to his place and he baked her. After he baked her, she said, she went on about her business. A few weeks later, she go have consensual sex with the man. Let me cook. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, bro. If I get away, if I'm a man or woman, if you get away from your aggressor, right, that did all these things that you didn't like and you hate, you're gonna stay the F away from them. You know what I mean? That's like a criminal just say, I'm gonna go up the police station and sell drugs in front of the police. You're going to jail. Text messages showed that this wasn't a scared woman. This was a woman that was partying. Now, I agree that after a while it got old, but I think this was fueled off of jealousy, lust, envy, hate. My biggest question is, how many times did you have one-on-one sex with Diddy? You testified that Diddy and an escort will wear you out, and then Diddy will make love to you after everybody gone. I'm saying there's real women out here that got hurt before, bro, that not no dollar amount, not even no jail time. They want their accusers dead. I don't care if they Christian, Muslim, Catholic, or Jew. They want somebody that violated them in a way that she's saying she's been violated. They don't want no money. They ain't calling for no money. They justice. The money come after the justice. She got the money first and then seeking the justice. 11 years into this, we heard about people being in relationships and being in situations, bro. And nah. Yo, like you touchdown, yo was 38. He was well a $500 million dude. You came into this money thing and started doing everything that you like, and he fed you what you like. And then when he get tired of you, they saying his lawyers, oh, she was jealous. It was a long-term girlfriend. I could believe that. If Kim Porter was alive, she'll tell a whole different story. How disrespectful Cassie was when she and Diddy on. She looking at calling him pop. She playing this game. It's a serious game with money, drugs. It's a serious game. So what I'm saying is Diddy being charged the wrong way. I don't want to see the man go to jail for all that for because of his sexual preferences. I don't think you should go to jail for that because of your sexual preferences. I don't. You know what I mean? Boy, weird, but hey, what in the law say that you can't be weird? What in the law you can't be weird? Then this woman testifying that she called up escorts. Wasn't no gun put to your head. You know what I mean? It wasn't none of that, shorty. You know, 20, I'm some years ago, hey, ecstasy was popular, cocaine's popular, marijuana popular, drinks. You put that stuff in you, bro, you get to doing things. You know what I mean? And that's just how I feel about it. You know what I mean? That's the different. If I was defense, that's the way I bring it. Man, if y'all charging with domestic violence, we'll be trying to reach a plea deal. But y'all charging, man, with all this whole other stuff, name dropping people. It's nothing in the law to say you can't have baby over. I'm just being real, bro. It's nothing in the law to say you can't be a freak. Nothing in the law say you can't go both ways. Nothing in the law saying you can't have freak offs. You know what I mean? You know, they saying, oh, you can't call it. Come on, bro. And then the dudes is testifying to it makes me sick. Like I said, y'all believe some of that shit Cassie lying about. Some of the far as getting, listen, bro. Far as man getting married, doing all that shit, I believe it. But far as when it came to them sex and drugs, I believe she was with that. I truly believe she was with that, bro. I believe she was with that, bro. Cassie was a porn star. That's what bro just said. I could believe that, bro. I could believe that, bro. And if he knew that, that's what he was fueled off of, bro. Like, come on, bro. I love you. You know what I mean? Adam 22, wife a porn star. He loves the things that he do. Need to get somebody in there like Adam to testify. Like, bro, some dudes is with that. Some women are with that, bro. Like, I believe she with that, bro. Because none of these threesomes I haven't recalled yet. It was with a woman. I never said. I don't see nothing about girls like Diddy. We had another chick or nothing. It's all dudes, and she said she did it hundreds of times, bro. Hundreds of times, yo, just getting wore out and baby oil and all that. Girl, you like that shit. Girl, you like that, bro. Because the reason why I'm so mad, so adamant about it, yo, it is definitely girls out here that really been baked before, who really been assaulted before, who really been hurt, that ain't no money and ain't no jail time gonna make them happy, bro. They glad they got justice, but they still angry. They have a hatred for that person, bro. They don't get away from that person and go back to him. That's my whole case. You got away from this man on numerous occasions and you kept going back to what? For the threesomes. That joint was making you come, girl. That girl was skeeting all over the place, bro. She's having a time of her life until she realized that that little thing dried up and boys on something else. Boy, did Doug on something else. Boy, Diddy on Young Miami now. Boy, Diddy moved on, bro. They moved on. I believe that. Then they like, oh, if you'll give the money back, then I would have said as a give the $20 million back, right? Put the $20 million back in his account and then go for the justice. And then you want me, oh, I drop the case right now. Diddy, you guilty. That girl gave back $30 million. Everything she said is true. Everything, bro. She gave back $30 million. You don't give back $30 million if it ain't true. You ain't giving that fucking money back, bro. That money put you in position, bro. For real. Diddy was a dog motherfucker, but I just don't believe that Diddy, they should be, life in prison is tough, bro, because me listening to the trial, you can't listen to the trial. So until the paperwork drop or the full trial, keeping it the G News, Crown TV News, they'll go crazy on the paperwork. So all we going is off what reporters and what the news is saying, because in the federal courthouse you can't have no cameras or no recorders in there. I'm quite sure somebody snuck a recorder in there. It's impossible. Somebody just got their phone now, put the recorder on it. Something going on with it. We'll hear it one day. But nah, what the reporters are coming out saying, I don't see sex trafficking. I don't see nobody behind their will. I've seen a young girl partying, having sex, living young, wild, and free, and then thought that she had a place in a man's heart that been doing this shit. Girl, you was 19 when you linked up with him. And they got 20 years in doing this. Are you crazy? You know what I mean? You signed a 10-album deal, bro. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You started a 10-album deal, yo, Cassie. Come on. And then I just keep hearing the song in my head. You know what I mean? Like when she first came out, I was in jail, but and then I want y'all to know this. And this is the truest shit I ever spoke. This wasn't when you're the juror and you think about this wasn't Diddy doing this shit in 2019, 20, 21, and they're all none of this. They stopped dealing with each other 7 years ago. They stopped dealing with each other 7 years ago or before. Like, I don't know. It's like last incident was like 2018. It's been 7 years. Man, the moved on. You done moved on. You done had 2 kids. You get what I'm saying? A personal trainer accept you for knowing all this shit. Like, you got a husband. Man, you say you done had hundreds of freak offs with threesomes and you still got a husband. So you blessed. You know what I'm saying, baby? And I know why. Boy, standing there like shit. Girl, she done ran 3, 4, 5 guys at one time. 72 hours with 4 men. Boy, I'm keeping this to myself. That's what a husband said. Boy, shit, this is a monstrosity. She's a monstrosity. That boy, her husband pulled the Adam 22. She's a monstrosity. She's a monstrosity. No way. Boy, you want to fight Diddy and all that, threaten Diddy and all that. You'll never get her back, Diddy. You will never. Boy, Diddy like dude from Dead Presidents. When old Doug came out the military, old slick dude let him know, hey boy, she doing different now. Like, yeah, boy, you know what I'm saying? That's what Diddy really want to tell the boy. She a monster, ain't she? Yeah, I know. Yeah, Diddy, he said he ain't want him in the court. You know what I mean? But I feel like Cassie got jealous. And I'm not telling you, like I said, I'm not saying it's right at all for him putting his hands on that woman. I'm not saying it's right at all, but I'm just saying Cassie was doing that shit, bro. I believe that she put her hands back on him and she way younger, like she hit his ass back. She wasn't all scared of that because they done did too much together. You know what I mean? You be intimidated by somebody at first, but once you really get to know them and know them, bro, you ain't scared no more. And that's the female trait. At least females that come from Baltimore, they might be intimidated a little bit, but after a while, they be with you for a while, they get the heart of glory. So I just don't believe that the man is this monster that they putting it out to be. And I'm not gaining no shit. Bad boys don't even pay me. Like, I'm not even in the algorithm for them to even catch my content. But I'm saying though, if you're the jury, please don't convict this man off of his personal preferences. If he was in here for domestic violence, he guilty as charged. But all this other shit y'all pulling is crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And like I said, man, prayers go up for Cassie. But Cassie, you was in the whirlwind, shorty. Like you gotta I want Cassie to talk to the women that be the prostitutes. Period. That let her know, like, shorty, you know what I'm saying? You want to get out, you can get you had a way out. That's the part that got me. It's been plenty of times you kid Cuddy, your other boy, he's running around doing this. I just don't got Diddy running around. Like, when you a billionaire, bro, you can build the Cassie, like build the bear. You can go buy a Cassie, bro. Like, for real. I'm just saying, bro, like all the holding people on their wheel, like, I don't know, bro. Maybe I don't know, yo. Nigga too rich to be wearing. I mean, maybe Baltimore people think different. Maybe Baltimore people think different. I'm too rich to be out worrying about no. Like you said, no means you can go. No, you ain't getting down with us. You can go. Bye. Beat it. Hey, get out of here. It's just as easy as that. Like, the fuck I look like having somebody that don't want to be here, doing something to them or forcing somebody on it. I'm a billionaire. I'm Diddy. Like, I don't have to force you to do anything. You can leave nicely. The same way you walk in here, you can beat it. Motherfucking girls, the girl went outside the door and came back with her clothes off, bro. Like, come on, bro. Stop playing, bro. Like, that's all I'm saying. Yo, stop playing. Stop playing. You know what I'm saying? You know, at the end of the day, what did you do? Like, at the end of the day, you start blaming it on your parents. You know, you say, yo, what did your father teach you? Or what did your mother teach you? Or what did your uncle teach you? You was willing to be my, a sex slave for money or 10 albums. You fell in love with me. She's got text messages. I love you. And then somebody said, well, those text messages could be. I said, baby, hold up. Computers and text messages, you can't go back and fix that. Man, them text messages showed that wasn't no bad woman. That was a woman having a good time until she seen something that she didn't like. I'm not telling you she liked the domestic violence. Nobody likes that. Hell no. Like I said, the man guilty as charged. Give him his 5 years and let him go ahead. You know what I mean? For domestic violence. But man, come on, bro. You know what I mean? I know love is a vicious thing, but this didn't start out with no love. This started out with threesomes. I know a man can get a woman to do certain shit and women can get men to do certain shit, but once you get tired of something, you tired of it, you getting out of there, bro. You're getting out of there, and she had more than enough time to get away from this man, and she didn't. Because what she said, she loved that nigga, bro. She loved what Diddy did to her, bro. She loved the way Diddy treated her, bro. For real. Sometimes, what's the definition is insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. Right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. You have sex with multiple men with this man, he watching. What do you think gonna come out of that? More and more threesomes. Do you think that he's gonna make you his wife and put a diamond ring on your finger after him and whoever then bust you down? No, sir. Adam 22 did it, but I don't think Puff gonna do it. So I just think that the domestic violence part of that shit, Puff was out of order, bro. Nobody's going to defend him on that. Nobody, everybody see this. Us men, boy, you're done. You're going to have to go up in that motherfucking tank for a while. But the RICO, trafficking, and all that shit, nah, man, come on, bro. They trumped up charges. They trumped up charges. This ain't and they say Jeffrey Epstein. And it's what, nah, this ain't one of them situations, bro. This was Diddy being a party guy that he partying, doing what he doing, and then Shorty got out off the ship and felt as though he was doing the money. That's what I'm saying. He's not charged with domestic violence. Exactly. That's my point. That's why I said if he was charged with domestic violence, then I will get it. But he's charged with everything but the right charges. You know what I mean? You know that, and you can't be charged with domestic on a federal level. So they put these old trumped up charges, what made me believe it's a hidden agenda. Because California could have charged them and booked them all the statute of limitation. They could have went and did some. She could have went and filed. She could have went and did so many different shit. But Diddy ain't been fucking with her for the last 7 years. You know what I'm saying? He ain't been dealing with her. You get what I'm saying? So this is his past coming back to haunt him. You know what I'm saying? This is his past coming back to haunt him, bro. Like, this ain't no, that's why I say another thing. If I was a lawyer, I'm gonna tell the jury, hey, this ain't happened yesterday. That's part of my closing. This ain't happened yesterday, by the way. This ain't happened yesterday. This didn't happen yesterday. You know what I mean? So that's just how I feel, bro. You know what I mean? Drug dope channel, yeah. Call it what you want to call it. But Miss Sunshine to you. But I just believe that Diddy in a tough situation, bro. But I'm gonna be honest, thank God it's 8 men on that jury. Because it would have been flipped 8 women and 4 men. That's 8 guilties right there. We got a long way to go, yo. Do I think Diddy gonna get found guilty? Man, I don't know. Them court people be dogs. That court system be dogs, bro. And the federal system are dirty dogs too, bro. You know what I mean? It's a RICO with no co-defendants. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Every day we wake up, the black man, the black woman, they get into something that new laws being made. New laws being made. And then Diddy, man, did a security dude
has officially wrapped up her testimony in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial after nearly 20 hours on the stand. Her account included graphic details of alleged abuse, rape, and coercion. But the defense, particularly today, pushed back with texts, audio, and claimed she was a willing participant in their so-called freak-offs. That's not all. We even learned more today about what was inside Diddy's hotel room and heard striking testimony from Dawn Bouchard. I'm going to be breaking down what happened in today's courtroom with Elizabeth Milner, law and crimes reporter, who is inside to hear and see it all. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Well, after 4 days of harrowing testimony, Cassandra Ventura has finally stepped down from the witness stand in Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial. In her account that spanned allegations of physical abuse, rape, coercion, alleged freak-offs, even this purported $20 million settlement, this painted quite a picture of their decades-long relationship, and it gives the jury a lot to think about. And I gotta say, I think it made this case a whole lot greater, particularly after the cross-examination. So we're gonna break down everything that we learned from today's proceedings, day 5 of this bombshell trial, and also what we can expect to come. So to help me do that, I want to bring back on law and crimes reporter who has been inside that courtroom for every second of these proceedings. Elizabeth Milner is back with us. Elizabeth, so good to see you. First of all, I got to say, before you came out to do your hit, there was a little bit of like commotion out there. Basically, there's a lot of people watching this case. There's a lot of people outside that courthouse. Can you briefly explain to us what the atmosphere is like, both inside and outside the courtroom? It feels like that is the scene. That's the epicenter right now.
Absolutely. And, you know, look, there's been a lot of public interest in this case, not just from us in the media, but also those who just either want to get a glimpse of Diddy himself, want to get a glimpse of Diddy's family. And so there is never, you know, just not enough people from the public who are here outside that courtroom. When I came outside today just to chat with you, Jesse, I walked outside and all of a sudden I saw a woman with kind of hair extensions in her hair. She was yelling back and forth with a man was yelling at her. It was pretty tense. I didn't know kind of what was going on, but a lot of people were crowding around them. I walk across the street and all I see are free Diddy t-shirts, which is very surprising, something I didn't see when I entered the courtroom this morning. But
Free
that was
Diddy t-shirts.
very early this morning, so maybe a lot of people were realizing it's Friday. Let me go to the courthouse. Let me see what's up, and let me just see if I can get a glimpse. Because some people are still under the assumption Diddy just walks out of the courtroom every day, but that's not the case. He still goes back to NBC Brooklyn every night, every day after trial. But for the most part, there's still kind of a busy scene. Even right behind me, a lot of people kind of crowding around. Either the media is going to be out there. It's
Shorty, we just
happening. As far as inside,
we want to know what's inside the courtroom.
Season.
Cause I want to get y'all the last day of this trial. But they can't. Here we go.
And somebody that she had worked with years ago at this point, but you could tell she was very, very upset. Well,
the tape coming out again, recharacterizing some of Sean Combs' behavior. That's what I took away from it. But by the way, I have to ask this real quick. Jonathan Oddie. So Jonathan Oddie. This is this. He was the guy that allegedly shot up the Trump property in 2018.
Yeah.
This male performer, at the time of his arrest, he told investigators he was a sex slave of Sean Combs, mentioned Cassandra Ventura. At the time, nobody really knew what to take of it. He came up with regarding this recording today.
He definitely did, but not necessarily regarding this particular recording when it comes to Sujit. As far as the recording goes, that mentioned Jonathan Oddie, it was about this secret video that he had taken of Cassie and Diddy at a freak off, and Diddy was trying to make this video go away. And according to Cassie, while she was testifying, that Diddy spent a significant amount of money so that this video wouldn't get released. And then Cassie had explained during her cross today that essentially she and Diddy never used Jonathan again after he had did this. He said that she had said that he was never used again in a freak off because she was concerned about this situation because Audie had threatened to release this video. When Cassie spoke to Diddy just about this recording, Diddy essentially said, "I'll take care of it." And the defense said, would this video be embarrassing if it was released, especially for Diddy, because Diddy is a celebrity, but it would be embarrassing for you too, right? Because you're also a high profile name around this time period. And so that was definitely the Audie mention that was, kind of clicked in my head today, because he was someone brought up a couple of days ago when Cassie was under her direct examination, because they put up a whole bunch of exhibits, a whole bunch of photos of the escorts that were used in freak-offs, and the face that definitely stood out to me was Jonathan's face. And so just to kind of hear essentially why Jonathan was never used again during a freak-off, this kind of explains it.
There was a lot of testimony regarding the 2016 incident at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, where you have this videotape footage of Combs appearing to beat Cassandra Ventura. We've talked about that ad nauseum.
That's their main case, is the domestic violence shit.
About the communications that came up.
That's they charged the man wrong.
This happened, right? Can you talk to us about those communications? What were Combs and Ventura talking about after
this? What I want to know.
2016 incident.
So the defense was essentially asking Cassie, was Diddy blacked out during this incident? Cassie said she had wrote a message to Diddy around this time. "You get effed up the wrong way. You always want to show me that you have the power to knock me around like a rag doll." A message that I think we have seen even prior to trial. The defense was kind of insinuating that Diddy had did this because he was combining a mixture of drugs and alcohol. And even during yesterday's cross-examination, they were kind of insinuating that Diddy had a bad batch of drugs when he had attacked Cassie in that hotel room. Esteban she kept on during this moment, and I actually kind of wrote this down, she kept on kind of forgetting to submit stuff into evidence. At one point, she even said, "I'm sorry," and it was just kind of a whole incident. And so Cassie was talking about, Diddy had sent a message to Cassie saying, "I'm so horny for you." Cassie had responded, "You are. What made you feel that way?" And these text messages were sent after the physical assault that happened at the Intercontinental Hotel. She said while she was on the stand today that it was essentially strange for Diddy to even kind of say that. Cassie had responded in a message to him saying we need a different vibe from Friday being the night that the day that the hotel incident had happened. And Diddy responded to Cassie F Friday and FUCK Friday. Diddy had also said, I don't want to do that again. And Cassie had responded, LOL, true. And I'm kind of paraphrasing these text messages because they went by so fast. And then Diddy had responded to Cassie, what are you doing? And Cassie later sent a text message essentially saying, I love you. And so I think that what the defense was trying to do there is just insinuate that even after this brutal and physical assault that happened, that they just kind of went back to their normal pattern of just saying I love you to one another, kind of putting a Band-Aid over.
This is where I want everybody to listen, right? I'm by no means necessary me as a man is sitting up here saying that shit was right. But man, like one thing that my daddy taught me, bro, and this is the truth. And if your father and any all 10 of y'all is looking in here right now, take notes of this. My daddy told me this. He said, man, if you gotta put your hands on a woman, you should leave. That's granddaddy advice. My father told me, man, shit happened, right? When I was a kid, I was scared of domestic violence, right? Because I used to see my mother and father shoot the fade. I used to see my brother, mother, and my father shoot the fade. I seen my sister, mother, and my father shoot the fade, right? I used to be like, man, I used to be traumatized from it. Beefing and police getting called and all this goofy stuff. It wasn't until I became a man to realize it wasn't always daddy's fault. You understand what I'm saying? I come from Baltimore, bro. Baltimore City, West Baltimore. Man, these women built different out here, bro. They built different. See, that shit that happened with Cassie, Baltimore women, and New York girls, New York, listen to me, man, when I tell you this. I don't know nothing about nowhere else. New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Baltimore. Them women cut different. In DC, them women cut different. You know what I'm saying? Them women would have got the 20 million and got Diddy ass whipped by a brother cussing a homeboy. That's just the way it goes. But one thing about in Baltimore, with men and women, they ask you, hey, look, do not call me if you going back to that person. Do not get in the middle of that. And my father taught me that. Don't get in the middle of that PUSSY and that DICK. I don't care if it's with your mother, your sister, whatever. Don't get in the middle of it until that if that person's serious about leaving that person alone, because you will get in the middle of that shit and that person go right back. They go right back. You don't know what them people got going on. You ain't inside of them people bedrooms, not inside of them people phone calls. So if your sister come at you, and you should know the look that your sister giving you when enough is enough. And you also gotta know the look to know, man, she got bumped into heads with this man. I'm not getting in the middle of them people shit. And that's my point exactly, bro. Whatever happened in that room transpired, we never seen. And with that, at the end of the day, at the big fight like this, the last message of the night is I love you. You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying this to say, bro, this is, I really believe it's a case of jealousy, envy, hate, money, sex, just what happens in Hollywood. This is a case of that the federal government picked up. Domestic violence, Diddy's 100% guilty of, but he's not charged with that. Even the jury going to think that, well, we got him on domestic violence, but it's hard to prove that. They had this. To me, the government haven't proved that he was holding people beyond their will and he wasn't doing this and that. You might, if this is a charge, you fly. I don't know how that's a charge. If I want to get down with a woman and I'm in fucking Jamaica and I wanted to come to Jamaica, I'm gonna pay for her to fly to Jamaica. If my, I don't get it. Like, what's wrong with flying somebody out? But they say that's a thing. Like, I don't get it. You saying that's a charge if I leave on Thursday and I tell my wife I'm flying out Saturday because I'm horny as fuck and she gotta go to work, but I gotta be here for a week. That's sex trafficking. That's what you saying, like, bro, or somebody in my phone. I want, yo, hey, short, pull up, come on out, and fly you out here for a day or two. That's sex trafficking. Like, come on, bro. Like the trumped up charges that they use against black men is crazy to me. It's crazy. Yo, a man should be charged with domestic violence and he needs the house of roof. He needs help, bro. He needs addiction. He needs drug treatment. He needs anger management. He needs the things that the state courts will offer because you out of order. You get what I'm saying? Luckily, this domestic issue in the drug use didn't, lead to death. But that's the consequence you gotta pay, Diddy. You gotta go to rehab. You gotta do all the parole and probation type shit. You know what I mean? To get you together, because that's what the system built for, rehabilitation. You know what I mean? All these fake sex allegation is extremely powerful, pertaining recipe to take our brother life. Cassie wasn't forced to do anything. Diddy coming home, he innocent. Yes, hey, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. I believe that he's innocent on these federal charges. But putting his hands on that girl, he ain't innocent of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but I say we don't know if Cassie slapped the shit out, did he? Spit on him or carried him and all try to get out there. We don't know because we don't know the inside of the video. All we know is his reaction. That's a fact, though. And I'm not saying this reaction was right. You get me? By no means necessary. But it's a part of me, but I don't know what happened. Why did he do that? Why did he do that? You get what I'm saying? Why did he do that? I don't know. We don't know the answer to that. We don't know what happened in the room. And then we don't see no footage of them saying, well, after Diddy and Cassie did this, a male escort and Diddy left the hotel room. We don't see that. All we know is Diddy and that Diddy and Cassie, was in a hotel room. We don't know nothing. Being a freak don't make you guilty. Absolutely. Let's get back to these text messages. Please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button. See YouTube trying to push me in the algorithm. I really appreciate y'all.
Then Cassie was asked about the photos that she had took of her face after the assault, and Cassie said she actually didn't remember taking those photos, and these were photos that we had seen inside the courtroom. It's of Cassie in the back of the Uber after this assault happened. She had sunglasses on, but you could definitely see one a busted lip or a fat lip as she had called it, but you could also see a black eye because she said she got hit in the face before she even left that hotel room, before we had seen that surveillance video that she was actually assaulted first in the hotel room before everything else happened in the aftermath of that. And so I think the defense, again, trying to kind of paint this as this was a domestic violence thing. This was something that always happened, but this was something that had happened because Diddy was on drugs during this time period. I was really kind of thinking that at some point today they would show that apology video that Diddy had done that we had all seen that was posted to his Instagram story after the video was released. But at no point today did either the government or even the defense bring this video up, because if you're going to be talking about how this, how drugs were at the crux of this, and he was so effed up from all these drugs when all of this was happening, that you would think that because Diddy had said during his apology video that I was so messed up during this time period, and that I was thinking that, essentially that he was so messed up from the drugs that they would try to paint that picture. But that video didn't even come in today. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it, but it's possibly we haven't seen it yet too.
And that's another thing that his lawyers can prove. And that the government is helping, to for the jury, is that every time they did it, the boy was fucked up. What it is, baby. Hey, like this video when you tapped in. Like this video. This is not about Cassie. This is about sex allegations, sex trafficking, racketeering, about Diddy pissed off some powerful people. I agree. I wish I had my board hooked up. Bing, 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 bing. I agree with you 100%. That's why I said, if Diddy was charged with domestic violence in a circuit court or district court in California or New York or whatever the incident occurred, I will tell Diddy, hey, boy, they got you. Boy, go ahead and do a plea deal. Go ahead and lay down like Tory Lanez for real. Get buffed in the joint. Come on home. But this shit, they got him on. It's a not guilty all day. You know what I'm saying? They find this man guilty. It's either a not guilty or a hung jury. You get what I'm saying? It's only going to go there 2 ways, bro. The government, I feel like, now it's more weeks to come. But y'all saying y'all head witness is Cassie. You get what I'm saying? I sat in the trial before, and the key witness smokes the case. And usually they come with the star witness at the end of the case. They came with the star witness earlier, which pushed me to believe that the government don't really have nothing else powerful. You get what I'm saying? They don't have nothing else powerful. You don't have no co-defendants telling on him. You know what I mean? He fighting this battle alone. But I feel like they're going to find him guilty. I feel like they're going to find him not guilty on a lot of these charges. And there's only, 5 charges? You get what I'm saying? And the way the government work, they might get tricky, but I just hope that the jury really listening to this open arguments, really listen to this first week of trial. They saying the trial could last 8 weeks. I don't think so because Cassie already out the way. What is the next door blow for Diddy? You know what I mean? What is the next door blow for Diddy? That's just my thing. You know what I mean? Who else gonna take the stand? But let's get back to the sidebar. Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. If you're feeling this, all I ask is, hey, you want to donate, donate. If not, please just push me back into the algorithm.
I'm not a rag doll, somebody that's a child. That's pretty impactful message to say the least. Now, another really difficult moment that they spent a lot of time questioning about was the 2018 alleged rape, right? So she had testified that Sean Combs raped her, and that there was another time after that they had consensual sex. What was the cross-examination like regarding that alleged
That's
rape?
what I was telling y'all about at the beginning of this. She said that he raped her. And then after that, they had consensual joints, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As a man, a grown man, I can't rock out with that. Like my sister come tell me, this man violated me in the worst way. And then 3 weeks later, the man come to me like, yo, I can violate your sister in the worst way. Yo, you did the most, bro. We beefing now, but we just made love last night. Man, I go crazy. Me personally, I lose my cool. Cause I'm going straight and find my sister and I'm gonna slap the saliva out of her mouth. Yeah, I said it. You just told the family, whatever, this man violates you in the worst way, then you gonna make love to the nigga. Man, you don't get this away from mama. Don't ever bring that news in this house. Girl, you want to go out here and get knocked upside your head and be involved in all that bullshit? Don't bring the family in this. That's your life. Live it. You're grown. But man, don't get to playing with me like that because when somebody do that to you, people, period, bro, you got that on your mind, bro. Like that's like taking somebody's life, bro. Like for real, bro. That's a violation that got to be handled, my man. And then if you going back to him, you ain't telling, no, that didn't happen, bro. That didn't happen. Y'all got into something now. You want to say the man did that to you? No way, Jose. I ain't believing that, bro. I'm not believing that, bro. You know what I mean? I could believe it happened and you ain't say nothing about it. And the hatred that you got, you'll never go near that person ever again. But you can't say that person baked you and then you made out with him, bro. That ain't the way the law works. Hell no.
During this time period, Diddy was trying to get Cassie to go to Burning Man, a big music festival that I guess the two had gone to a number of times throughout the course of their relationship. Because I think we have to always kind of put in context that these two were together for a long period of time, a longer relationship than I've ever had in my life, minus my parents, And so 11 years is a long time period. And yes, they were on and off for a lot of periods of time, but it seems like from these messages that Diddy was kind of thinking, maybe we'll get back together. Maybe this isn't truly the end or anything like that. So around this time, the defense was kind of bringing up the rape allegations that were made in Cassie's federal lawsuit, which we know was settled the next day, because the defense was trying to say that you had said this happened in August, but in your lawsuit, you said this happened in September and not August. You met with prosecutors in 2023 after the lawsuit was filed in New York, and the defense says you told the government that this incident happened in September of 2018, and then the defense says that Diddy was acting strangely. That Cassie had said that Diddy was acting strangely to the government during a 2023 meeting that the two had, that Cassie had with federal prosecutors and federal agents, that she was kind of describing the alleged rape that happened and said on that night that Diddy was acting pretty strange. The defense says that Cassie had told the government Diddy was kind of acting anxious as well too, something that wasn't necessarily talked about during her testimony when she was recounting the alleged rape. The defense asked Cassie that you told the government that Diddy was bipolar and that he actually wasn't in his right state of mind. And so then we got more text messages, these being from August 21st of 2018. Always paraphrasing, just gotta say, Cassie wrote to Diddy, hit me when you can, hit as in like, let me meet up with you. Diddy had responded, okay, I'm at an investors conference, you good? Diddy said, I'm calling, it's going straight to voicemail. Cassie said, thank you. And then Diddy said, I know I look bad to you. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting point because maybe it is kind of helping her claims a little bit here that things just weren't necessarily right. And so we saw more text messages from that day where the defense says that Cassie told the government in April of 2025, just last month, that the rape happened in August of 2018, and I think they were trying to point out that they said it happened in August, did it happen in August, did it happen in September?
Right.
So then after we saw these text messages from August of 2018, Cassie was asked, you know, do you hate Diddy? And she said that she even still doesn't hate Diddy in the present time. She still has love for the past. We saw more text messages. This one's from August of 2018. Diddy saying to Cassie, can you call me, please? Cassie saying, I'm so heartbroken. Diddy saying, me too, have a good night. The defense kind of trying to point out if, you know, if the rape happened in August, why is this texting going back and forth? Or maybe this is verifying that this happened in September. And so then we saw some September text messages where Cassie asked Diddy, how was the yoga treating you? Diddy was apparently sleeping with a yoga instructor. That's kind of what the insinuation was.
Told y'all, yo.
An intimate relationship with a yoga instructor. And then Diddy responded, what does yoga have to do with me? Cassie wrote to Diddy, I heard you were dating. Cassie said, who do you think I'm dating? Cassie said, I actually need to stop even caring. And Diddy said, do you even want to start dating? Let's talk about it. We fast forward to just a week later where Diddy said, do what you got to do. Cassie said, well, let's just talk tomorrow. Diddy said, I don't want a combo where you break up with me again. Cassie said, I do love you. I don't want to I don't want to be your girlfriend anymore. Then we kind of get into Alex Fine a little bit, her now husband. And so around this time, this also being in September of 2018, that Diddy found out that Cassie was seeing Alex Fine when the two being Cassie and Diddy were intimate together, because I guess Alex Fine had called Cassie around this time. And it's pretty important to understand a little bit of why Diddy was possibly upset, because around this time, Alex Fine was a personal trainer. Diddy actually hired Alex Fine to train Cassie. So that's just another point that the defense always kind of tries to make there. After Cassie had told Diddy that she had a great night with him, the defense asked, you know, if Alex found out about Diddy. And when the alleged rape was talked about, the defense asked, so did your husband punch a wall when he found this out? And Cassie said, the defense was kind of trying to say it as the rape had happened when Alex was calling. Cassie was kind of trying to clarify that that's not the time that this alleged rape had happened. But essentially the defense was like, you know, when Alex had found out that this had happened to his now wife, that he was just so angry that he became violent and punched a wall during this moment. So I think if, you know, Alex Fine is called as a as a defense witness, that this will definitely be a point that they'll talk about during his testimony, if he does take the stand for the defense, because he might have to.
Yeah, it's tough to know about that if he's actually going to. Probably not. Yeah, you know what's interesting, Elizabeth? Apparently they were communicating, 2020? Like recently, 3 years before she filed the lawsuit against him? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, and according to Cassie, they still communicated after their breakup. So you see more messages, some from March of 2019, but the ones from March of 2020, they were still even communicating. This was the time around COVID. Not sure if maybe that kind of played a part into the two still communicating, but I think it's important to kind of note about here. During 2020, Cassie was already...
Call me a bad guy if you want to. If you're me, I don't care. But don't y'all think she looking out for Diddy now behind the door? I'm not, because listen, right? This is where I'm at with it. This is how I am. And this is how I was raised to be. It's some fuck shit going on, or some fake shit going on, or some foolishness going on, and you got the opportunity to exit and get out the way and put it behind you, and you don't, you are part of the drama. You are part of the problem. This ain't just them, this you too. Because if you get away from that shit, bro, you ain't gonna be in it. You know what I mean? Man, I'm saying, yo, this is natural, bro. You know what I mean? You shave, if you shave this facial hair off, because you know I gotta tell you, old prison joint, right? If you shave all your facial hair off, then I'm wondering about you, man. I'm wondering about you. You know what I mean? I'm wondering about you. You shave all your facial hair off, brother. You know what I mean? If you shave all your facial hair off, you know what I mean? I wonder. You know what I mean? Don't shave your facial hair off. That's a sin. If I could grow my beard out, man, I would be I had hair and all. I had, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like the great Bob Marley. Pardon me, y'all. The late Bob Marley. The late great Bob Marley. But anyway, you messed up a train of thought, Safi. Like,
She was kind of insinuating
I'd
that
bring you on camera.
this is something that she had always wanted to hear. But then if you think about just these dates, Jesse, these were in 2020. Cassie said that around this time, she was still kind of doing illegal drugs around this time up until 2022. Then she went to rehab in 2023. And then that's when, she was starting to kind of get these flashbacks and starting to kind of her trauma therapy and stuff like that, still kind of reprocess everything that she had gone through. I mean, this is somebody that she was with for 11 years. This is somebody that she was with throughout all of her, most of her life, I would say. And so I think, just putting everything into context, it kind of makes a little sense. Who doesn't break up with someone and then message them, a couple years ago talking about the good times? Because that's sometimes things that people do. This is a normal reaction.
But
so,
no. You can't text message nobody back and yell out. It's to bring up your past. If your past was about violence or being baked, you know what I mean, and being assaulted, you don't call that person no more. You forget about them. After you moved on, you got kids now. You fell in love again, which is a beautiful thing. You moved on. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? That's just the truth of the matter.
Lost without you. When she's now saying that he sex trafficked her. And it's a very, very complicated analysis that is not going to be resolved with her testimony. I believe we're going to have a mental health expert to discuss this a little bit further as well. We saw flavors of this in other cases too, like Harvey Weinstein. But it's a lot for the defense to work with. That is clear, right? If the idea is to say that this was consensual, that's one hand, versus coercive on the other. Not easy for the jury to match it up here. But one of the things I was wondering whether or not the defense is going to work with this. When she went to therapy or when she went to rehab, there was a discussion about memories. And would I be wrong to say the defense was trying to suggest that, and I've seen this before in other cases, that her memories were being manipulated? So in other words, the defense might make the argument, everything was consensual, yet when she goes to rehab and she gets therapy, her memories of her time with Sean Combs are being manipulated to make her feel like she's a victim of a crime or sex trafficking. Am I totally off with that?
No, not at all. I honestly thought, them talking about her recent passing was, to me personally, just completely inappropriate. But to your point, Jesse, I could see possibly why they were trying to do that. They were essentially talking about how she was treated for neurofeedback. Her brain was hooked up to a bunch of wires to a machine to kind of regulate her brain activity. She said this was something that while she was there for 45 days at Lilith Star or Willow Star, I believe it's called, that she did this treatment about 5 or 6 times during her entire stay. So she said it was essentially about once a week, and she thought that the neurofeedback would essentially help her with her trauma. She also did this MDR treatment, another thing for trauma therapy, which helped her recount her memories. And again, to your point, Jesse, I do think that, a professional expert kind of talking about this and kind of explaining this to the jury about why people kind of do this. It's kind of new age even for myself that this type of machine is even possible. But, if you think about it, especially because we cover so many of these types of cases, right? Not just with the Diddy trial, but all across the U.S., sometimes outside of the U.S. too, that, we all know how sometimes it is.
That's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Diddy, we be back at the Diddy on Monday. You know what I mean? What's up with my man Tory Lanez, man? What's up with Tory Lanez, bro? Tory Lanez, my man Tory Lanez. But Diddy, the bodyguard dude, Gene Deal, I be tripping off of him. Yo got to be the funniest dude alive, bro. These dudes. Boy, that's one thing I can honestly say, bro. Like, the clout, is different. So, new evidence in the Tory Lane case, popped up this week. I don't know if y'all believe it or not, but
Tory Lanez recovers in the hospital.
Let's go.
What's up, America? It's your boy Ice.
You know what I mean? Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. We in the building though. Let's get to my bad toys.
Tory Lanez recovers in a hospital after a prison stabbing attack. His father and supporters gathered today to demand his release.
Former rapper was convicted of shooting Megan Thee Stallion. Fox 7's Christopher Hardo tells us about the claim of new evidence.
Bringing it to light now was made necessary by the events of this week.
Just days after rapper Tory Lanez, also known as Daystar Peterson, was attacked in prison, his attorneys are calling on Governor Newsom to pardon or commute his sentence, insisting they have new evidence Lanez didn't shoot superstar Megan Thee Stallion, but it was instead her former best friend, Kelsey Harris. And they say Harris's one-time bodyguard, Bradley James, was spurred by conscience to come forward.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody.
Walter Roberts says the statement aligns with another witness who saw 2 women fighting. Lanez is serving a 10-year sentence after being convicted of shooting Stallion in the Hollywood Hills back in 2020. The singer testified against Lanez and in an op-ed wrote, quote, "Even as a victim, I have been met with skepticism and judgment. We didn't hear back from Stallion's attorney and couldn't reach Harris for comment." Lanez's lawyers say they've had the new evidence for months and were waiting on the appeals court to rule, but went public after he was stabbed in prison.
He was stabbed 14 times.
The rapper's father, Sunstar Peterson, says his son is recovering remarkably well, but recounted the story Lanez told him.
And I quote, "Dad, I thought it was my last. And having made my peace with God, I said, okay, God, is this how it's supposed to end for me?" And God said, no. God told him, do not give up.
The family and legal team insist Lanez was never given a fair trial, raising questions about the prosecution and investigation. But now say Lanez can't wait for the appellate process to play out. In doubt.
Damn, bro, little bad Tory Lanez down bad, bro. You know what I mean? Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez, bro. Y'all believe that Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion? Like, honestly, do y'all believe that? I don't believe it.
Good morning,
and I don't want to sound like the type of dude that just don't agree with certain shit, bro. I just don't believe that certain shit motherfuckers gotta do. Why would I shoot Megan Thee Stallion? I'm going to jail. Like, I'm just one of them person, man. You know what I mean? Fuck logic. I go with what makes sense. Why would I shoot Megan Thee Stallion? Just tell me, Judge, why would I shoot Megan Thee Stallion? Why? Why? I'm digging her down. Like, bro, I'm a superstar. Like, I don't have to shoot no broad. Like, that's what I be tripping on. Why do a man have to shoot a woman, bro? Why? What did Tory Lanez think in California he was going to get away with shooting Megan Thee Stallion? She going to tell. She's gonna tell, bro. She's gonna tell. Like, I don't get it. She's gonna tell. She's not gonna be by your side after you shoot her, bro. Ask me how I know, bro. I seen it happen. I said, man, hell no. And I believe that Tory Lanez was cracking Megan Thee Stallion and her friend, Megan the big star. And then it's like, how you gonna go bump down to get the help? Their friends got into it. Megan a big girl for a girl to be fighting. They got the tossing, and Tory Lanez is just like a motherfucking real nigga. He tripping off the shit probably. Gun come out, girl shoots her. They from Texas. Them people from Texas, bro. California, Texas, you can bear arms, bro. You can walk around with a joint if you get the license to carry. The Texas girls, man, they people carry guns, bro. Girls from down that country carry weapons. Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas. Goddamn it, man. Women carry them joints down there. They come from a joint state where they can just go to the store and buy them. You know what I mean? Like, y'all gotta ask yourself, why would Tory Lanez just pick up a gun and shoot Megan Thee Stallion? Like, come on, bro. Like, even if she was getting messed up, jacking them up, like shooting them, like, that's stupid. Come on, bro. You know, but
good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming out and lending your cameras to the world. We appreciate you being here. My name is Sunstar Peterson, well known as the father of Tory Lanez, but his family affectionately knows him as Daystar Peterson. This may seem not even traumatic today, but it does to me. The reason why he bears the name Daystar is because I was scheduled to speak in a conference in Washington, D.C. back in the early 2000s. Back in the late 90s. My wife and I stayed in a hotel across the river in Northern Virginia. I was up praying before that conference that I was supposed to speak at that evening. As I paced back and forth in my hotel suite praying, I began to quote the scripture from 2 Peter chapter 1, and it states, "For you will do well to take heed as unto a light shining in a dark place, until the day dawns and the day star arises in your heart." I didn't know whether it was a boy or girl in my late wife's womb, but I heard the Holy Spirit said to me, that is the name of your child. That's why he bears that name today. Now we're standing in the United States of America, land of the free and the home of the brave. I have watched from afar, being a Canadian. I have watched as presidents, innumerable, and other officials place their hand on the Bible and swear a sacred oath to uphold justice, to uphold truth, because that's what justice demands. So before I go any further, based on the courtroom that I stood in 508 days or so ago and heard my son convicted, is a court in the federal reality of things that also holds the Bible higher than judges. And so I'm going to pray a very short prayer before I get started here today. I'm going to pray that in the spirit of when Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, stood before Pontius Pilate. Pontius said, "Why do you not speak? Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you or to let you go free?" Was only one of the times that Jesus ever spoke. He said, "You would not have power over me unless God Almighty gave it to you today. And I have come to bear witness of the truth." Upon which Pontius Pilate replied, "What is truth?" That question was never answered in Pilate's judgment hall. But I answer it for you today because Jesus Christ himself told us what the truth was. Truth is not a philosophy, it's not an ideology, it's not a doctrine, and it certainly is not a religion. Truth is a person. His name is Jesus Christ, who said, "I am the way, the truth that leads you to life." Father, upon the basis of your word today, that this
boy taking this to church, you know what I mean? I ain't knocking him, you know what I mean? I ain't knocking him, you know what I mean? It was beautiful, you know what I mean? The boy saw it.
identify with the name umbrella as one umbrella. It was actually launched so that my family would not just be the ones benefiting from whatever fame or fortune, but so that all people, anywhere that need a shelter could come under that umbrella. And that's the reason why it was launched by Daystar's brother initially, who is known as Wolfgang Peterson. So I thank all of you who have always been an encouragement to us, who have stood with us. Those of you standing here today with Free Tory t-shirt, Jano, can I have that t-shirt right there, please? Those of you who are wearing these and remembering this person, because I want you to understand that from the beginning of this, I stood as far back as 2021, and I watched where a spin doctor for the NBA now high-powered attorney out of New York, Alex Spiro, ran a campaign to turn my son into a monster in the eyes of the world. At that point in time, God said to us, there is a time to be silent and there's a time to speak. We chose to be silent. Now we've been silent for way too long. The hour demands that we speak. One of the reasons why I stood silent is because I trusted in God, but I also did not want any blowback to affect my son, who was sitting in the belly of the beast. That's why I chose not to speak at that time.
Your boy Tory Lanez, man. If y'all know, he got stabbed 14 times in a correctional facility, which is going to probably spark a race war. When I heard Tory Lanez got stabbed, now this dude's on the yard saying Tory Lanez running around gambling, a big dude on the yard. Well, this is how prison works. You know, you got, in California. I never been to California prisons, by the way, but I've been to prisons in the state of Maryland. But, when you go to prison, no matter what state you in, you meet other, individuals that's incarcerated, and they've been incarcerated in the feds, California, Mississippi, Milwaukee, Ohio, shit. Some motherfuckers even been incarcerated out the country. You know what I mean? So with that being said, they said Tory Lanez was stabbed 7 in the morning by a Hispanic, purposely Mexican guy. Now in prison, in California prisons, is governed by gangs. Certain states prisons are really governed by gangs. Man, the gangs run the population. Man, it's really organized. Organized time. That's what I would purposely say. You have organized time. You got dudes in there hustling. You got dudes in there doing whatever they got to do. So one thing about dudes, they pay attention. You know what I mean? You got the power, you got the brains, and you got the money. You get what I'm saying? That's the way that it works. You know what I mean? The brains, the muscle, and the money. That's how prison, usually gangs go in prisons, organizations go in prison. You know what I mean? You gotta have those 3 things in order, you know. And in an event in war in prison, they want to do one thing. They want to knock the brains off, and they want to go hit the finances. So the finances and the brains just allow a war amongst the men, what we consider the soldiers. So the soldiers gonna go to war. The muscle gonna go to war with the muscle to claim, to protect the brains and to protect the finances, right? So in prison, the biggest thing is the element of surprise. Bust your move when everybody ain't looking, and then prepare for the war. So Tory Lanez got stabbed 7 in the morning, 14 times. Dude went for the kill, went to take him out, went to put him away from there. His life got saved. God said, nah. Allah said, nah, not today. You get what I'm saying? His life got spared. And phone calls are surfacing on the internet with guys saying, hey, when they come off a lockup, it's gonna be a war because Tory Lanez helped a couple guys get back life. You know what I mean? He's working on cases. He's making sure dudes on the yard got commissary. He Muslim. You know what I'm saying? And definitely, you know what I mean? Dudes got to stand up for theirs. You know what I mean? He's Muslim, so you stab a Muslim, you know what I'm saying? That's a real big problem. You know what I mean? You stab a Muslim, brother don't owe you no money, brother not fornicating with men. You know what I mean? What that means is, having, engagement with men, like you have engagement with women. That goes on with certain things that, organizations or gangs and religious groups are not going to tolerate. So when you engage in that type of stuff, the groups will fall back. You know what I mean? If you sleeping with men, if you gambling, if you using drugs, they are things that, are not allowed in certain organizations. And if you do that, it's penalties to that. So then you get a man that's not doing none of that, not engaging none of that, he gets stabbed simply of jealousy or simply of an argument. And before a stabbing occurs and before violence occurs, a conversation occurs. Boy, these 2 dudes can go ahead and swap it out, or 2 men want to swap it out there, get it in, and don't even put their organizations in it. That's how it goes. But in this instance, you can't hit Tory Lanez on the yard without permission. You can't hit Tory Lanez on the yard for nothing without confronting us about it first. Then y'all did that, so the damage is already done. Because he's a black man, he got stabbed by a Hispanic, Mexican to be exact. That can start a race war, meaning that the blacks want to go against the Mexican because they stabbed and try to kill one of their own. So that can be a bloody bath in those California prisons, and that can spill over to jail to jail to jail to jail to jail, because that's how that works. You know what I mean? So, keep your prayers up in the air for Tory Lanez, but also keep your prayers in the air because you might have family that's in those facilities, but it's gonna get ugly. You know what I mean? Before it get talked about. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know if the stabbing was right or was it wrong, but I don't think Tory Lanez will owe a gambling debt. I don't think Tory Lanez would just have anything to do with the usual stabbings, and usually a hit like that would occur because, you know what I mean, he up. You get what I'm saying? He getting money, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. He might have bumped kids. They might have been arguing. That part of the story didn't get out yet. Well, I'm gonna look for it, but nobody really knows the reason because jail is his own city within a city, and the politics are different. The rules are different. The laws are different, and the way things are handled different. You know what I mean? For all the times that I was incarcerated, bro, I still have nightmares about that shit, bro. And I'm not saying some of the worstest things happened to me, and it didn't. I maintained, I got in my stuff, and you know what I mean. I was able to make it home safe, but the harsh reality of it, people do get stabbed, people do die, things do happen in there. You know what I mean? That wouldn't even happen on the streets. Like some of the shit that dudes are squabbling about, it won't even happen on the street. Dudes really getting hurt for corner store and gas station food. Believe that. With knife made out of metal that was put in places in the early 1900s. So boys, some dudes got uptown knives in there. So it's a pretty bad situation. But this new evidence is alleging that Megan Thee Stallion friend shot her, and that's why she got full immunity. She can't even be charged with that. And a bodyguard said his conscience was eating him up, especially at the they said they had this information for a while before Tory Lanez got stabbed, and the Court of Special Appeals had that. So that supposed to be a door blow. But they brought that to the forefront because after the stabbing, you know what I mean, puts him back in the headlines, put it back in the news. Tory Lanez case has been talked about since he's been incarcerated. So, that's neither here or there. But, like I said, that shit got ugly on the yard. I don't know if it happened on the yard, in the building or whatever. And they said he was on a tier with a whole bunch of like Hispanics, dude. I don't even understand how that worked. So that might be an inside job from the jail. Like, yo, you don't put no black dude on the dude. So he was on the tail with a lot of Hispanics. That's vicious. You know what I mean? That's vicious. That's vicious. And I heard he had two knives. Put him on him. And Toy kind of big and buff. Yeah, I'm cool, man. I'm alright, man. You know what I'm saying? I was a little sick, man, but I'm feeling a little better. You know what I mean? It comes back. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. But you know what I mean? Like that's what's going on. So it's been some other shit flashing in the news. What's going on? Hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. We working. But I wanted to get back to the dudes because I got off of that and jumped on that. But the manhunt for them dudes. The manhunt for them dudes that escaped the joint. Donald Trump, he's still in the headlines. I ain't carrying my man Trump. But Raw Dope in the morning, bro. I will be back, South Feed. I will be back in the morning, man, for all my working people. Really pushing myself, have a good dinner tonight, get some rest, you know what I mean? Hang out, get some air today, and then really go out there. And, I'm bringing the vlogging out, man. I'm going to bring probably my first true crime hood vlog. You know what I mean? True crime hood vlog. Dudes are doing hood vlogs, but I want to do my hood vlogs different. I want to do my hood vlogs mixed with true crimes. Like some go in the hood for somebody to just tell you an ultimate hood story. That's what I want, a legendary story. That's what I'm pulling up on. Pulling up on dudes and letting them give you a legendary story from the block. That's how I'm coming. Hey, Pop Sproul, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Where is that? I gotta have it. Breaking news. I should have just made one of those breaking news joints. You know what I mean? Breaking news. Uh, breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. It's breaking news, bro. Just in 3 minutes ago. Let me hit y'all. Explosive in Palm Springs. Oh,
A neighborhood in Palm Springs is shut down. Residents encouraged to evacuate, all in connection to a deadly car explosion outside a Palm Springs fertility clinic. Good evening to you. I'm Susan Hirasuna. The blast happened this morning. One person was killed. 4 others are hospitalized. The FBI is calling the event a, quote, intentional act of terrorism. An explosion rocks the desert oasis of Palm Springs. A bomb goes off in or near a car parked at a fertility clinic.
This explosion was significant, covering several blocks north, south, east, and west of the 1300 block of Indian Canyon. Roads are closed as there is wide debris field over 250 yards.
The blast was so strong, windows from buildings blocks away were blown out.
We see a huge cloud of smoke come out of the building down there. So we go, oh my God, let's go check this out. And we drive up and we see what looked like a body part on the ground. We see the buildings, the windows exploded, and we see a fertility clinic in between it was set on fire.
It didn't take long before the FBI determined American Reproductive Centers was targeted, but no staff or medical materials were harmed.
This is a place of hope. This is a building that people go to start or expand their families. We acknowledge their pain and concern across the community. For the ARC patients and staff, this is a building where hope lives, and we are confident it will continue afterward.
Officials assured residents and visitors to Palm Springs the bombing was an isolated incident and there was no ongoing danger. The FBI promised updates as the investigation continues.
We have a person of interest in this investigation. We are not actively out searching for a suspect.
The clinic released a statement saying in part, quote, this morning an unexpected and tragic incident occurred outside our Palm Springs facility when a vehicle exploded in the parking lot near our building. We are heartbroken to learn that this event claimed a life and caused injuries, and our deepest condolences go out to the individuals and families affected. We are immensely grateful to share that no members of our team were harmed, and our lab, including all eggs, embryos, and reproductive materials, remain fully secure and undamaged. We are heavily conducting a complete safety inspection and have confirmed that our operations and sensitive medical areas were not impacted by the blast. Governor Gavin Newsom also releasing a statement reading in part, I've been briefed on the explosion near a fertility clinic in Palm Springs. Jen and I are keeping everyone affected in our hearts. The state is working closely with local and federal authorities as the investigation unfolds. Please avoid the area. Well, as we mentioned, the FBI confirming the bombing was targeting the clinic itself. We asked counterterrorism and trainer and national security expert Hal Kempfer for a possible reason. Kempfer says since Roe v. Wade was overturned, the anti-abortion protests have changed.
You still see this very strong feeling that's anti-IVF, anti-surrogacy, and a lot of times those same individuals are also anti-LGBTQ. All of that takes you to this clinic in Palm Springs.
There's been an effort in Congress to protect the access to IVF services. Republicans blocked the Democratic bill in September. The bill was written to address a decision by Alabama Supreme Court granting that frozen embryos are considered children.
So I don't even know what to say to that. That's vicious. That's a different type of quality. That's why I give y'all at the end, you know what I mean? Fundraisers, like, I don't know, bro. That's tough. Man, you gotta stay away from them places, boy, where they do people in and do this deadly damage leads across town American risen. They always say deadly storm, that's a bad storm. Like, where's the positive shit at? Do the news even promote positivity? Like, do the news even promote positivity? So one thing about this basement, it gets cold as fuck down here. It's like the lower part. It's like the winter, the summer, and I broke my heater, bro. Like, broke my heater, bro. The Preakness 150 Preakness stakes marks the end of an era. I'm sorry about that. I'm worried about that.
Event at Pimlico is now wrapped up before the historic racetrack closes for renovations. It was a fantastic final event with tens of thousands attending the 150th Preakness Stakes. Ashley Paul brings us all the sights and sounds from the racetrack.
There you go. That's the one.
Well, I may be a little biased considering my line of work, but I'm happy to say that the winner of the 150th Preakness Stakes is a horse named Journalism. But the race today was only part of the excitement as fans came out in full force to say goodbye to Pimlico as we know it and get ready for new traditions in the years to come.
Journalist. I'd have betted on journalists because I'm a journalist.
We've been doing this probably for the past like 20 years or so.
Will look a little bit different next year as this year's 150th Preakness Stakes marks the final event here at Pimlico before it closes for major renovations.
I am a little upset because Pimlico is the heart of Baltimore, one of the hearts of Baltimore, and Preakness is one of the things that's so amazing about this city. But we'll be back stronger than ever once it's done.
Which is why this year fans went all out to make it an event to remember.
I think it really means a lot to the people of Baltimore to come together on a day like this and cheer for their favorite horse and have some drinks and eat some crab cakes.
From the beautiful weather to the beautiful fashion.
But a lot of people are wearing the olive colors right now. I'm like, you know what? I got to step it up a little bit. I want to have a bright color that's going to draw a little attention, but not too over the top.
I'm such an extreme event that happens here year after year.
Yeah,
when
Preakness,
people
shout out
come
to
in for
journalists.
it, it's just remarkable, and it makes me feel so passionate about this city that I love so much.
So while this might be the last year here for a while, the tradition will carry, hopefully for another 150 years to come.
I think that, from the plans I've seen, it's going to be bigger and better when they come back, and we'll definitely be here, and I'm excited to see it.
Renovations here at Pimlico are set to begin in the next couple of weeks and will be complete in 2027. So in the meantime, Preakness will be held at Laurel Park until the renovations are complete. On your corner in Baltimore, I'm Ashley Paul, WJZ.
2 years, baby. They gonna
If you're looking to get money to road for an injury,
I
want you to amend.
150 years, that racetrack was like that. I just tell you a little story about the Preakness. I grew up in Baltimore, West Baltimore, and if you don't know anything about the Preakness or horses, the Pimlico racetrack is actually located in West Baltimore, and it's actually on Park Heights. It's in between Park Heights and Belvedere, and I think Haywood. Yeah, yep. Haywood Park is in the middle of Belvedere, Haywood, and Park Heights, the main street. And you know what I'm saying? It's right down the street from Sinai Hospital. Preakness been around way before I was living, but when we was kids, we used to go steal carts from Super Pride and then go up there. So on the Preakness, we used to help people take their coolers and their beers and whatever they do, because they used to take all that shit in the fields. You know what I mean? If they didn't have seats, they wanted the thing. I think it was called center field, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody that's from Park Heights know about the Preakness. So as kids, we grew up there. I never ever seen a Preakness race, but I have been outside of the racetrack. As kids, we didn't really, I lived maybe about 10 minutes from the racetrack. Literally, you could walk to the racetrack. And that's what we did. We walked from Ricestown, Virginia, up to Belvedere, and that's not a far walk. That's about 5-6 blocks away. And when we was kids, I mean, man, listen, man, that's the first time I probably made a ham sandwich. You get what I'm saying? Real shit. Like, that's the first time I probably touched 500. You know what I mean? First time ever touching $500. Going to the Preakness. First time ever touching 500, 11, 12 years old. Yeah, you won't leave without a nickel. Everybody, when you go do the Preakness, we was kids. Anybody from up the way, you know this. When we were kids and you did the Preakness, if you was bluffing, you was gonna leave with $200. That's promising. You was gonna leave $200. But if you was working, man, and we was little and we were young, people give you $100 bill. People nobody was giving you less than a 20. They gave you $20, bro, and as kids, we didn't even think it was a long walk because we used to walk all the way down because the parking spots would be tore up, so people just be walking. Hey, you want me to help you carry your stuff? And you didn't charge them. They gave you a tip. It was like it was sweet back then, the early '90s. But what happened with that is that older guys, it's a hustle. The Preakness hustle is for kids between the ages of 10 to 17. You know what I mean? 10 to 17 years old. That's kind of like the Preakness hustle. You know what I mean? If you over 18, you find different hustle puzzles. But dudes started doing shit like, robbing dudes. I wasn't into that. You get what I'm saying? My crew wasn't into that because genuinely we knew every year at, May, you know what I mean? You was going to have some money, get a couple pair of tennis shoes. You know what I mean? The end of the school year was coming. But yeah, bro, we go right to Cinderella's after that. Go to Cinderella's, go get a chicken box and a cheesesteak sub. This was kids. We go get forward. It was a big day. All eating your food, chilling, everybody counting their little Preakness money. Put on Preakness was a sweet day in the ghetto. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Preakness Day was a sweet day for every kid on Wrightstown Road from Cold Spring on up, man. You know what I'm saying? If you was from Cold Spring on up, Cold Spring all the way to Hilltop, that was the Preakness was your hustle. That was your hustle, especially if you was an early bird. If you live, around there on the Maple Avenue, all them little streets right by the Preakness. You know what I'm saying? Right by the Preakness, and a lot of people don't know that's a predominantly black community. It's a mixed community. You know what I'm saying? It's a Jewish community. It's a black community. It's a few Caucasians around there. It's sign out, but mainly, it's a Jewish community and the black community. In that area where the racetrack at. And 2 years from now, I would love to see. The new racetrack. You get what I'm saying? I hope that they said the new racetrack is going to offer more. So a lot of people from the community that never even been to Pimlico racetrack, you get what I'm saying? They will get to enjoy concerts because it's a huge place. It has a huge parking area where you could park and do your thing on the parking. So I was always wondering, why there wasn't like a big concert pavilion there. And why, even though it's horse races there all year round, I didn't understand why I wasn't a lot being done there. Like, what I mean? The Preakness is like the biggest thing they have there. Then it's like a concert they have there over the summertime. There's a few things that they have there that's pretty dope. But I was like, damn, bro, it should be something at the racetrack all the time. You get what I'm saying? So shout out to that, bro. So I know with the development of the Pimlico racetrack, they're gonna do a lot of work around there because you can't have a beautiful racetrack, but you still have to have a beautiful neighborhood. So those houses get up there, and the value of the homes are gonna go up Park Heights. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's how it was when I was younger. We used to go do the Preakness, man. As kids, man, you made every bit of $200 to $1,000, man. You know what I mean? So we was 11, 12. We was happy. You know what I'm saying? We getting out of there, boy. You might just make $200 and be ready to go home. Some dudes went home, but then you just might be walking with your cart and more people asking you. So when you trying to go home back then, you couldn't even go home. You really went home after the Preakness was over with. And a lot of people that just left their shit there. It was hella trash. So like the older people used to clean up the next day. You get what I'm saying? You used to go up there and could clean up after the Preakness and make money too. You know what I mean? That was things that was sweet back there. I think they should bring that back in there. But now it's technology is here, but I think it's still gonna be that big cleanup. They bring everybody out to clean up the Preakness, but the Preakness was a great place. And plus, my cousin and my father brother, they worked up there, training, washing the horses, cleaning up horse shit, and doing shit and developing relationship with the horses and the jockeys and shit. So and also Pimlico Racetrack again, employ dudes from the neighborhood. So now it's gonna be better housing up there. So shut up the racetrack, man. Shout out to the racetrack, bro. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see it in 2022. But a little bit of NFL talk, man. My man, Shador, how y'all think? Pittsburgh, man, we gotta go with Will Howard. New York going crazy right now. New York. Them people up New York is going ballistics right now. And the Knicks advance, and NBA Finals. If they win this game that's coming up, boy, them boys going to the NBA championship. It's been a long time. So I know them New Yorkers is going crazy. Shout out to my family up in New York, man. Please hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. But listen, man, I thank everybody for tapping in, man. I'm grinding, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been a little bit under the weather, man, but I'm getting myself back together. So listen, man, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. No fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the internet. RD Podcast, baby. Let's go. The vlog.